Hey guys, it's ViewMasters Reactions, and we're back with Season 1, Episode 2 of Xmen 97. I edited up Episode 1, and it was like 6 in the morning, and I was so exhausted. I hadn't slept yet, and I was like, I gotta take my cat to the vet in a couple hours. Let me take a quick nap. I took my cat to the vet. It is now afternoon of the next day when normal people are probably beginning to watch it. I already posted episode 1 and I figured let me jump into episode 2 before I go back to sleep, because after this I'm going to edit, I'm going to go back to sleep, and then I got the arcade at midnight. So last we saw, we had To Me, My X-Men was the name of the episode. And at the end of the episode, we got Magneto. I wasn't even thinking about Magneto because I was so excited and into what was going on in the episode itself that I wasn't really thinking about what was to come. I was also trying to figure out who Roberto da Costa was. The name sounded somewhat familiar, but it wasn't ringing any bells, to the point where I just thought it was a new character. But then at the end, we were talking about solar energy, and I was like, it could be a couple people, but I think I know who it is. I couldn't think of the name, and then I just ranted for like 10 minutes at the end of the episode about how great everything else was. I think the show itself is phenomenal, but before I get into that, the character is Sunspot. I did figure it out. I had to look because I was like, in my mind, I was like, there's another guy I thought it could be, and I don't even remember who the hell that was, but it's not important because it's Sunspot. That is who Roberto da Costa is. There also seems to be, and I said this in the first episode, how I was told, or I think I saw somewhere, that Jubilee is going to be more of a focus. How in the previous animated show, she was more of a student, and she really didn't do as much as she should because she wasn't graduated per se from the academy. So now you can see they're making Jubilee a thing. She's sort of hitting it off with Roberto, and he's a slickster, super rich. He's giving her a card. He's like, yo, look me up. I'm single. You want a date kind of thing. And I always enjoyed Jubilee, but I feel like she was never at the forefront. And obviously Wolverine is my favorite. I don't know. In the comments, tell me who your favorites are, because I'm curious. I feel like the vast majority would be either Wolverine or Cyclops. I feel like that's where it's torn. Gambit's my close second for me personally. Wolverine is just always so great. And I feel like if Gambit had more of a face in the last 20 years of Marvel movies, it would probably be more in my mind. But since the animated show, we had that one little hiccup where he was in the Wolverine movie and it was horrendous, and he was barely in it at that, and people try to forget about that one. But Gambit has always been a favorite of mine, going way back to even before the animated show. I have thousands of comic books, and I collected all the Gambit series, and I collected X-Men even more so before I was into Wolverine. I mean, I loved Wolverine, but even before, like, I would say he was my favorite, Gambit just always stood out in my mind. I also love playing cards. I'm a massive gambler my whole life. So I don't know if that aspect had something to do with it, or if perhaps because I was so young. Back then I didn't gamble when I was like 8 years old, 9 years old. So I'm wondering if my love for cards and gambling came from Gambit himself. But Gambit and Rogue's relationship is great. Rogue is probably my third. I mean, they're all great, but I would say Wolverine and Gambit are really close. Rogue is my third. I'm never really a fan of Cyclops. I never was, even in the movies and everything. I feel like he's too much that guy that is always like, this is how we do things. Like, I like too by the book. I don't like people too by the book. You got to break the rules sometimes in order to prevail, and now he's about to dip with Jean Grey because they're having a baby. Morph is great. Bishop is great. Storm is phenomenal. Jubilee, like I said, is going to be more in the forefront. Nobody's bad, but honestly, if I had to pick my least favorite, it would probably be Cyclops. And now he's like kind of abandoning everybody. But at the end of the episode, Magneto is like, Charles Xavier in his will and testament was like, yo, you get everything. You get the school, you get the students, you get my fortune, but you got to take care of him, and Magneto is taking on the role. So Magneto's great too. Love Magneto. He's probably more up on the higher half of the characters. Bishop is amazingly awesome as far as a character. I love his abilities, the time travel aspect and everything. And he's never, as far as I know, he's never been in a movie, right? I know Cable was. Was Bishop ever in a movie? I don't recall it. And like I said, if it's in the last 20 years, if you're like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing, it's like hard for me to pick you as a favorite. So we're going to have to see how that goes. But either way, I'm talking way too long. You guys want to see more of what I do? In the description of every video is a link for Patreon. You'll see these in full as soon as they pop up. They're coming out every Wednesday, one a week from here till the end of May, I think. I think there's 11 episodes in season 1. I already thought the first episode was great. I'm curious what other people think, but it reminded me of the old school one with like almost like an Archer feel with the animation, because the animation was slightly different, but not in a bad way. It was just the classic feel with a little updatedness, and that's fine. So all these will be up in full on Patreon as soon as I watch them, and then edit it up on YouTube. Same thing with Peaky Blinders, Doctor Who, Person Interest, My Hero Academia, Toriko, and Bleach are going on. We're also done with Avatar live action, all the animated show. We're finishing Delicious in Dungeon. Tomorrow is the final episode, episode 12 of that. Shogun every Tuesday. I watch it Monday at midnight, and then I usually have it up by Tuesday morning. Phenomenal. Probably my favorite show on right now, besides maybe this, because it just started and I'm already loving it as well. Jackie Chan movies every month, hundreds of other movies and shows, full unedited. Patreon, link in the description. If not, Season 1, Episode 2, Xmen 97.
Previously.
Yes, they did it! I was so excited. I was like, are they going to go previously on Xmen?
To me.
Magneto.
My Xmen.
To me, my Xmen. Name of the episode. And we're watching the theme song. I love it. I have to watch it every time. It like literally hypes me up. Storm was a badass in the first episode. Storm probably did the most damage. She wrecked like 7 Sentinels. Dark Phoenix. Bishop on a rainbow wheel of hell. X-Men. Mutant liberation begins. I live very close to Coney Island, like 45 minutes. Slow, kids, slow. Fast, 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 fast. Kevin Feige, I didn't know he was in it. Oh, that's right, he's Marvel. What am I talking about? She's like, slow, kid. Now it's like, get the fuck out of here. Who is it? Who caught it?
Is that who I think it is? Saving? One thing is clear to both humans and mutants.
I don't get it, Jean.
Cyclops and Jean were ready to bail, and now they're like, what? We didn't get everything? Now I want it. I don't trust her. I said in episode 1, something about her. Or she's just skeptical.
You think regular folks can sleep knowing you demons are down here? Don't hurt Leech!
Even denying these outcasts.
You have no effect on me.
How unfortunate for you.
Yeah, that had to hurt. Gotta hurt a little.
You're him? You're...
Magneto.
Magneto's coming off like a savior.
Maybe we go change it back, no?
Look, plenty of us at this table have passed so dirty. Take a page from the professor's playbook and give Eric a second shot.
Agreed.
I have arranged
But
for the Morlocks. This is one of many mutant
Jean
desire
Grey
to honor Charles
has
Lee of
grown
mutant
immensely. She have 3 babies in there?
coexistence.
We check every
True.
minute of every day.
You have been our
Like, if you don't trust somebody, you don't go to them every day. Listen, motherfucker, I don't trust you.
After all
How
our
fucking
tete-a-tete,
dare
I have
you.
finally realized.
Like, Wolverine will come at you, too, and be like, listen, bub.
Haven't worn
But, like,
yourself
I don't
since
care,
the
because it's
battle
12 or
in
8.
the
I'm sorry if
Blue
you're a Cyclops
Not that
fan.
Magneto
Look at
has
his
taken
cheese and
charge.
smile.
Can I tell you something? If he's a mutant, how do I tell him he's different?
If he's a
That the world
mutant,
will
I
remind
think the
him
odds
of
are
it every
pretty
day.
damn good. Like, literally, you turn into the
Well,
Dark
a little
Phoenix,
pep talk
and your
about
husband
smooth as a
can
dozen
shoot
cats in
beams
the
out of his
yarn
eyes.
store.
I told myself
Look
I
at this
needed
outfit that
to
Magneto
protect
has.
myself from his psychic powers.
He
Perhaps
seems
they are right not
sincere.
to. My past is too littered with error.
And Rogue was the one
thing
saying,
is,
let's give him a
I
chance.
didn't go about demanding their trust.
Being alone with me, Rogue.
Oh, ooh.
That was a long time ago, Eric. And that cat's gotta stay in its bag.
That cat's gotta stay in its bag. Yeah, her and Gambit got something going on now. She sounds a lot like Dolly Parton. It's this lady again. I don't trust her at all. Look at her face.
We're here for Magneto. Our rifles are resistant to your electromagnetic powers.
Thanks. We'll do other things. Yeah, you suck. Morons. Lady, you are the dumbest person ever. Get out of here before you all die.
I hereby place you under arrest.
Lady,
for
I'm
crimes
gonna
against
chop you up
humanity.
in a blade.
Stand trial
Okay, thanks for the speech. You're gonna die
Should I
in a helicopter
successfully
blade.
vindicate myself,
That is how due process works.
No.
then
He's gonna go willingly because he's trusting the government. He's trying to do what's right, but I think not. I would have chopped her up in the blade and go, I don't know what happened. It was a helicopter failure. If they treat him fair, I don't think it's gonna be a fair trial. I mean, he's done a lot of bad shit. So a fair trial might actually convict him of 10 life sentences. Muties!
People
Damn
will go back on today.
muties.
Keep them distracted. I'll only have one shot.
I think he's gonna get the shot off and the bullet. Magneto's gonna stop that bullet. I think
My
Magneto's got
people's
crazy
homes were burned
stronger
to
power
death.
than they assume.
We sing this song to one another. The oppressed become oppressors.
a future where human and mutant could relinquish the past and finally...
They've broken through the barrier. We can't hold it back.
You better unleash us. The X-Men are here.
Watch Magneto and the judges. Our goal is de-escalation.
De-escalation.
He's here!
Jean,
Apocalypse.
the baby. Get your keys and your coat. I got it for you. We got the Jeep.
Almost there.
Oh, God, she ripped the top off his Jeep. De-escalation. Murder everyone. What do you dumb bastards think you're gonna do to the X-Men?
Titanium laced alloy.
That's pretty cool. And
got
look
a
at his
name?
weapons.
Executioner.
Well, everyone around you is going to die. You have a great suit. Look at this dude.
Round two. Absorb this.
Hurt my friends? Well, now you answer to me.
Oh, what a shot. Cyclops.
You see? It's the whining.
Oh, it's more Psylocke, Cyclops. Colossus.
The baby's coming, Scott!
This dude is taking on multiple X-Men.
Rogue,
One
fly
dude
Cyclops
is
to
taking
Q
us.
immediately. Magneto and I will protect the judges. You, uncaller Magneto, you.
Well, now who does she think she...
Do not
Shut the
protest.
fuck
Be
up,
silent.
you old
He
bastard.
command-
I'm gonna save your life, you dumb bastard.
I'll show you a C-section bump.
Jean,
Do what?
Oh, Cyclops.
We're
I
gonna
slipped and
melt
touched
your brain if
baby.
you don't
My
deliver this
power's
baby.
out.
That's what we're gonna do.
Sorry, sugar.
Yeah, sorry, sir. Because you didn't cooperate, we're melting your brain. I refuse to deliver a mutant baby. Yeah, Magneto's saving all of your lives right now. Oh my god, he's constructing a giant swords out of all the metal in the room. He's building a
See how their
perimeter.
mob manners fare against the shock of good conduct.
Powers, look at this. We built like an electrical fence around them. The dude looks pretty cool.
Magneto!
Oh my... Crush that bastard. Does he kill him in front of everybody? Or does he storm? Is she gonna frickin' die?
The breeze is gone. I cannot.
Oh, it nullified her abilities?
This was not what we wanted.
Lies. This is your
Is he gonna go
dream.
dark now?
All the X-Men have done is use their awesome power to protect a world that hates and fears never again.
It's like they screwed up again. He's taking all the judges with him.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Is he gonna execute the executioner in front of the world? And all the judges are on there. Is he just gonna rock him into the ground? I think he's just gonna drop him. And he's crying.
Bigot. Ingrate. Sycophant. Worm. There was a time I would smite you all for what was done to Storm.
But he's gonna-
today,
He's gonna
I
show...
saved you from your own. For an old friend versus how small we make it.
He showed mercy.
Charles Xavier entrusted me with his dream, but merely to accept that this is a shared world, and that my kind, like yours, have the right to live in it.
What about this dude, though? That dude needs to die.
Please, do not make me let you down.
What do we do? I mean, maybe we're just gonna try the executioner now?
doesn't he need a name?
Nathan.
Nathan Summers.
Charles Summers.
We know who that is. Pardons
Former
Magneto,
parents
so here we
and
go.
saving the tribunal
And we're giving
quelling
aid to
the
Genosha.
insurrection.
Poison?
Dark roast. Never thought I'd see the day.
I hear you and Jean.
He saved all their lives and could have shot them to the earth. I got worried for a minute. I'm like, is he already going to go dark?
Guess that'll have to be enough.
This was a good week for our people.
A good week.
Yet it was not without cost.
Like, what's the deal with Storm? I'm just happy she's alive.
Use radiation to temporarily neutralize our mutant powers, suppressing a mutant's abilities without the need for a collar itself.
How long?
Yeah, I was going to say for how
Additional
long?
tests will be needed before...
Permanent?
Permanent.
I was just saying how badass Storm was. She's probably the most powerful we've seen, besides maybe Jean Grey. I mean, at least she's not dead. Look at that blast, man. It shot her right center mass. Oh, she bailed.
Jean, my sister, my faith in your family's future is strong, and I cannot rob you of a bond you have more than earned. To be heard, seen, to feel another soul. Connection is a fragile treasure. One who sacrificed so much.
I got
to
beer and
maintain.
chips, and I'm saber-toothed. That's pretty funny. I love it. And Gambit's saw. Oh my god, that breaks my heart. I was gonna say.
We are no longer connected, Jean, but trust that I will cherish what we shared as X-Men.
Like another woman's life. Or another person's dream, Muff. Ororo.
No longer Storm.
And we will respect her decision.
That's so. The blast had your name on it.
Gambit is not pleased.
Not 1 minute. Happy as a... What did I say?
Jean?
I need the X-Men.
What?
It's time travel. All right, everybody, that is it for episode 2 of the X-Men. I already watched the end credits and nothing really happened, so we're just going to jump right into the conversation. So we get Jean Grey showing up at the doorstep, and Jean Grey is in the house looking at herself. But we all know who Nathan Summers is, I'm sure. And if you don't know who Nathan Summers is, it's Cable. Cable, who is from movies and back in the day, the animated show. And he is a time traveler, so to speak, just like the powers of Bishop. Either way, I can't remember specifics of what happened in the animated show, but I know he popped up from time to time and he was a big deal at some point. That is who Nathan Summers is. It is the child of Jean Grey and Cyclops. I knew that the whole time when she was pregnant, but they made Jean Grey's belly so big. I feel like from the episode before to now, it grew immensely. Like it looks like she's got 4 or 5 babies in there. And they're like, yeah, maybe it's not going to be a mutant, even though we know that Cable is their child. Of course you're going to have a mutant baby. You have one of the most extreme mutants in the form of Jean Grey, who literally went Dark Phoenix. And then you have Cyclops, who is one of the leaders of the X-Men, so to speak. And they're like, maybe we'll have a human baby. The odds aren't good, people. But, I mean, we kind of knew what was to come as far as that goes. As far as the Storm situation, I don't ever remember that being a thing. But, I mean, I'm sure in the comic books, at one time or another, everything has happened because it's been going on for so long. But the Executioner comes in. I definitely heard of that guy. I feel like the way they portrayed him was pretty damn cool. He had all these ways to evade the powers of the X-Men. He was beating the shit out of Cyclops. Then Morph came in. Morph was handling him pretty well toe to toe. But Cyclops, once he got the friggin' rod shot at his face and then he wouldn't open his eyes. I mean, I understand he's blind, but at that point, open your eyes and just go ham on everybody because you're not doing good to us, getting the shit beat out of you, and then you not handling it and having Morph have to go toe-to-toe allowed the Executioner and the other group of people to go in and blast Storm. Now, Storm did try to save Magneto, and did save Magneto, but we find out that the blast takes away your powers. It is permanent, according to Beast. I can't imagine it stays permanent. Maybe there's something we do. I'm assuming it's going to involve time travel at this point based on the fact that Cable just came into the picture and Jean Grey showed up at the doorstep. I feel like Cable had to be born in order for the time travel aspect to come into effect. Hence why the baby's born while we're getting the whole speech from Storm. Storm exits the building, probably will come back at some point, but due to us possibly going back in time and preventing that from happening, I got worried for a second that Magneto was going to go dark immediately. I'm thinking, oh my God, it's episode 2. We just found out he got everything from Charles at the very last minute of episode 1. And now he's already going to be like, all right, I tried with you people. He could have just blew them away with the helicopter blades. How dumb are these people? The government, they come in, don't try to fight us. Our guns are resistant to your powers. And then he's like, all right, so I'm just going to crash your helicopters into you and incinerate you. I'll chop you up to pieces with my blade, or I'll just blow the shit out of you by just bouncing the helicopters off you. Morons. Total morons. How dare you think you could get the upper hand on the X-Men at their house? Morons. So either way, Magneto goes willingly. He tries to plead to them his case, and they're like, yeah, we're just a bunch of assholes and we're just gonna say no. And he pretty much knew that, but it almost was necessary for the uprising and the executioner for them to get lifted into the air. Meanwhile, he's spinning the executioner around like he's gonna, I thought he was gonna kill him and maybe let them live, but he's like, all right, let's just have this go to trial and have you see that I'm trying, because Charles wanted me to try, and I'm gonna try my best, and this is your last chance, so don't make me do something we all regret. So he has Genosha get aid. So now aid is going to Genosha. That's what he wanted to begin with. We didn't see Roberto da Costa. I also thought for a second that Storm was going to die, because I'm thinking in episode 1 of, I believe it was episode 1, the very first episode of the original animated series, I feel like they killed Morph. And I remember that being like a shocking moment in animated shows, because Morph sacrificed himself for Wolverine, I believe, from the Sentinels. But I'm like, oh my God, are they repeating that in episode 2 where they're going to have Storm sacrifice herself for Magneto? But she didn't die. She just went off. And I don't blame her. And I love that she didn't sign it Storm. She signed her actual name, because it's like she's no longer Storm right now. So why even sign it Storm? It was very poetic. And my heart is broken for Gambit, because Magneto tried to make a move on Rogue, and Rogue was like, yo, that was in the past. Let's not go there. Let's not let that cat out of the bag. And then she goes in, and I don't know what they did, but she at least held his hand in a very, romantical sort of way. And then she exits, and we see Gambit drop his cards because he sees her leave his room. But I don't know how far that went or what exactly happened, but it's still not great for him, especially. And then you see he comes back out and he's like, yeah, that bullet was meant for you. I don't know if Magneto is catching on already, but I immediately would be like, this dude is getting a bigger attitude than he got to begin with, so he must know something's going on, unless, I mean, it's got to be that, and Magneto should be smart enough to realize, but Gambit is not too pleased. I love that Morph went out with a 6-pack of beer and some chips, and was like, let's chill out a little bit and have some brews, and then he turned into Sabretooth, and they had like a little playful fight. Amazing. I don't know what else I need to talk about, but that was a phenomenal episode as well. I'm going to jump into the next one after I edit this. They will be coming out as soon as I watch them. I'm going to be getting up probably at 3 a.m. and watching these, because there's only one episode a week coming from here on. There were 2 the first week, and I'm loving it. And I am excited. I get the chills when the theme song starts. And you guys let me know what you think. I want to know in the comments who your favorite characters are. I told you mine in the beginning. You want to see more of what I do? In the description of every video is a link for Patreon. You'll see these in full as soon as they come out, obviously. Hundreds of other movies and shows. Peaky Blinders, Doctor Who, Person of Interest, My Hero Academia, Toriko, and Bleach. Jackie Chan movies every month. We're finishing Shogun. Delicious in Dungeon ends this week. Percy Jackson, True Detective, Avatar live action. So many shows. Hundreds of movies in the description. Full unedited everything on Patreon. If not, comments down below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.